are about to move over to Mr. Darren Palmer. Okay, his audio is connecting. Hello, Darren. There you are. How are you? Uh-oh, I think you're still muted.
Hello, how are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight, and welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
It's my pleasure. It sounds like a really great opportunity for me.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it because we always have a good time on this show. Unfortunately, you're just stuck with me tonight because Gwen is on an Alaskan vacation, well-deserved, but we're still going to make sure you have a good time tonight.
Great, I'm sure.
So, Mr. Darren Palmer, tell us all about yourself.
Well, where do I begin? Okay, so I recently retired from public schools. I was a long-time school administrator.
Oh, wow.
Just last year, last June, I retired. And this has opening up a bookstore has been a long held sort of dream of mine. But after I retired, I found myself actually not certain what direction I wanted to go in right away. So I figured there's no time, like the president, to kind of pursue something that I always had a passion for.
Yes.
But I was a public school administrator for several years and a school teacher before that, and just a man about the community, always interested in the community, and literature is one of the things I'm most passionate about.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service to our students and to our kids, because this not often, and we see this question pop up on Facebook all the time about who was the last Black male teacher that you had, or do you remember the name of a Black male teacher that you had? And I had a couple of Black men who were teachers, and I actually valued those times. I remember Mr. Blair when I was in New Orleans at Lawless High School. He saw something in me, and he would actually tutor me because he wanted me to take part in this math competition. And math was not my strongest subject, but he saw something in me and saw that I was smart. So he said, "I'm going to help you with this." And I did it, So I believe that Black men are valuable in the classroom, and you have a real place in the classroom. So I really love the fact that you weren't just a teacher, but you were also an administrator, which is something else that I think our students need to see.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I believe that whole dynamic of men in public schools and men in the classroom making an impact in education, it's critical. It's a lot of dynamics that go into why there's more or less of that. But just being there and making your presence felt and having some integrity matters a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what made you decide that you wanted to open a bookstore? What was it, your experience in schools that inspired that thought?
Well, two things, two primary things. I suppose I was late to literature, I think. It really wasn't until my last couple of years in high school that I sort of get serious about kind of delving into kind of critical ideas in literature. But I didn't read my first book until my first serious book until I was about 18. And it was Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. So that was sort of a baptism by fire. And from there, I sort of got on a track of pursuing mostly kind of social science, social issues, citizenship-driven issues, things like that. And so when I went to college, I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina, and there was this wonderful little bookstore just off campus. And since I was so far away from my home in New Jersey, I couldn't always go home every weekend, the way other people.
Yes.
I found refuge in that bookstore. It was called the No Bookstore, and it was owned by a professor over at St. Augustine College. And he was kind of a safe haven, intellectual haven for me. And me and my roommate would go down there, and it was just a great place to kind of congregate and talk, listen to older people, kind of talk about big ideas. And I always remember saying to myself, wow, one day I'd love to have a place like this of my own. Now, granted, that was the late 80s. Bookstores were the only refuge for intellectual pursuit. It wasn't no online situation like we have now. The only place to get books was to actually go to a store. So the circumstances for books and bookstores were different than they are now. There was a lot less competition then, but it was a really great place to just kind of cultivate your intellectual prowess. And I always kind of wanted to do that as well as become a teacher and become an educator. But you can't do both while you're a full-time educator and administrator. It's just really difficult. So after I retired, actually even prior to retiring, I knew I wanted to kind of pursue this as a vocation, just to check the box in my life, so to speak. And I've always been an avid reader myself. Like many people, I have a good library, and I just want to keep promoting education. Although I'm no longer a full-time educator and administrator, I still think it's so vitally important for our communities to kind of be serious about.
Absolutely. Now, do you partner with some of the area schools?
Yeah, actually we have. But we've only been open up a year.
Wow, you're pretty new.
Yeah, almost brand new. We opened up last August, so we've been open actually just a year. And since then, we've cultivated some really good relationships. There's a local nonprofit organization called Atlantic City Educational Organization who've been a patron of ours. The local public school district, I'm just outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey, in southeast New Jersey. The local public school district, they reached out to us and they ordered some things to supplement their curriculum. So we were excited about that. And we're always looking to do more. One of the big things that I've been trying to advance since I've been here is to try to make sure that our children know that we still have high expectations for them. So any student who brings in good grades, I award with a free book, of their choosing in the juvenile category, because they need to know that we still think that's important, and that there's something in it for them to maintain their good grades. So those are the partnerships that we've linked up all so far. Also, another local school district, Galloway Public Schools, invited us in to speak during their multicultural day, and that was really nice.
So one of our longtime viewers, Bernita Francine, asked for your location. She missed the location. So can you tell us again where you're located?
Okay, we're actually located in Pleasantville, New Jersey. We're in 6 Old Turnpike, Pleasantville, New Jersey. That's just across the bay from Atlantic City. So if you know anything about South Jersey, you probably know Atlantic City. So we're just outside of Atlantic City, maybe just 6 miles. Again, we're at 6 Old Turnpike, Pleasantville, New Jersey, 08232.
Wonderful. Now, I have to ask, you said that you have always been inspired by global events, and you named your bookstore Louverture. So just in case everybody doesn't know who Toussaint Louverture is, can you talk a little bit about him? And then at the same time, why did you decide to name your bookstore after him?
Okay, so one of the reasons I named my bookstore after him is so people like you can ask me that question. It's really one of my favorite questions. I've always been a pretty, culturally intrepid fellow. I remember early on, one of the earliest books I read was Haiti by Elizabeth Abbott. I think that was back in 1989. And you kind of come up in public schools, they kind of don't give you a rich African-American history, as you probably know. They kind of give you a surface kind of curriculum, and it's up to us to pursue and cultivate that. So I didn't really hear much about Toussaint Louverture other than the name until I pursued him on my own. And the book itself was so enthralling. It was so riveting for me. It's a history book on Haiti from start all the way up until the early 90s or late 80s. And in that book, it detailed the history of Toussaint Louverture, who was the first field general for the Haitian Revolution at the turn of the 18th century. And he was, as most people may know, he and his revolutionaries were successful in overturning the French government and becoming the first emancipated slave colony in the northwestern hemisphere. So the whole dynamic about that is one of the great untold stories of Western culture. One of the great ignored stories. So I love telling that story. I love pointing people to Haitian culture and Caribbean culture in general, along with African-American culture. And just by naming my bookstore after that, it's kind of an homage to that history.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's actually kind of symbolic. I mean, you may not be overturning the government with your bookstore, but you're overturning some beliefs with your bookstore.
Yes. One of the things I enjoy most, I often tell people to come by, you know, we chit chat, we talk, because it just gives you opportunity to engage with people, you know, whether they're buying something or not, or just browsing. It's a great opportunity to find out what's on their minds, what they find inspiring, whether or not we agree on cultural events and historical events. So yeah, in that way, even in that small way, we're overturning misconceptions and we're forging community. And that's the whole point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what types of books do you sell in your store?
Okay, so I like to say that our inventory has developed into what our customers have been pursuing. The vision initially was to have a quote unquote Black-owned bookstore because, as I mentioned before, the No bookstore in Durham, North Carolina was just that. It was that time in the mid to late 80s where there was a resurgence of African-American intellectual thought. And I kind of found myself in the middle of that. So that inspired me to definitely have a bookstore that included a broad range of African-American literature. So we started with that, but we also knew that the mission would be to inspire young people. So we sourced a lot of juvenile literature, things that would kind of help students along. But over the course of time, you know, and listening to your customers, they've come from far and wide, and they've been a pretty diverse group, I must say. Yeah. I'm very fortunate about that. They suggest things, they come in looking for things, I make a note of it, I order one for the store and one for my customer if they're buying, and next thing you know, I get direction.
I like that.
I get direction as to where I should be looking to source material from and what I should be putting on my shelves. And that's really been a joy.
So would you say then that, let's say I'm a reader in your area and I come in and I can't find a book and I come to you and say, do you have, I'm just using my name, do you have Rhonda Lawson's book, Twilight? And you're going to be like, I don't know about that book. Let me look it up. And if enough people ask for it, would you get it? Or does it have to be just that one person who's asked about it?
No, actually, it can be just that one person. You know, we are a growing small little book boutique. And we want to be one of the things we're going to have to, we look to do in order to kind of, I guess, gain leverage on the bigger stores, the longer established stores, is to have a quick turnaround, to be able to resource material from a lot of different places. So one of the things I look to do, if it's a title that's in publication, I can pretty much find it. I already have over 14 different providers or suppliers from very diverse origins. So if I have a book title and it has an ISBN number and it's still in publication, I'll find it for you and get it to you in short order.
I love it. So now we have a lot of authors who watch this show.
Okay.
So they're always looking for a place to do some in-person book signings. So do you welcome authors to do book signings in your store?
We actually plan to do more of that for the first time this fall. Beginning in late September, mostly in October, November, though, we're trying to put together a menu of activities that will begin to pull in authors from mostly regional authors, but also authors maybe that might be from a little further away. We have, again, more like a book boutique. We also have an online presence. So I have to be careful about the capacity that the store can host, but also it has to facilitate, and we have to be able to facilitate the author depending on where they come from. So we're looking to do more of that, but we're sort of in a trial and error phase, not error, but a trial phase about that right now, you know. So we'll have a calendar of events probably published by the 1st of next month. Wonderful. And that'll give us some direction as to how best we should be going about that going forward.
Okay, now you said calendar of events. So are there other events that you do at the store?
Only just small local events we've done. Again, we've only been open a year. We've been trying to acclimate ourselves to the community. We're fortunate to be in a small working class, diverse ethnic community. We have a lot of African Americans here, Haitians, Dominicans, Mexicans, just normal everyday Americans who come through. We do things periodically to kind of host like talks, things like that. But
right.
Mostly on an opportune basis. Somebody might come up with the idea to bring a small group of children through, and we might host them after we close, things of that sort. Nothing really formal yet.
Well, I'm quite sure that your Haitian customers love the name of your store.
Yeah, I want to say come through. Absolutely. And
Awesome.
It's funny, they're the ones who immediately know what it's about, some of the African-American people can't say, how you pronounce that? Or some of the other people, they might say, well, what does that mean or whatever? And again, it's a great opportunity to share the story, but my Haitian customers, they love it.
Awesome. So now I've got to say, it's a very brave thing to open a bookstore, and especially in a bookstore that caters to African-American books in this post-COVID world. I remember even before 2020, when I used to tell friends that I wanted to open a bookstore, they would tell me that I was crazy. Bookstores are closing. It's a risk. But this is something that you did after 2020. Mm-hmm. And you went through with it, and it seems to be working for you just based on what we're talking about right now. So what made you say I can do this?
Well, again, it's really a great question because I didn't go into it blindly. I'm aware of the time that we're in. Again, when I was inspired in college and the different bookstores that I've gone to in DC and Washington, DC, and, in Durham and other places, that was a different time. That was the mid to late 90s, the bookstores were the only place you could get books. Amazon had not emerged yet as a powerhouse. People had not grown accustomed to buying almost everything online. We had not gone through a recession yet. So I'm very keen to sort of like how the economy is going. But I'm also a very passionate person too. And I just like to pursue my passions. And I just believe in giving things a shot, So it's a gambit. It is indeed. And we do have a business plan that includes the brick and mortar store here, which, I love, but also we have the online store as a pivot if we need to going forward. But to understand business and to kind of be in business, it was kind of key for me. I'm a little analog in that way, to kind of actually do it in a traditional fashion so I could understand the operations of a business from a tactical standpoint. So we're going to continue to push through with the bookstore and give it as much, we're trying to afford it as much potential as it might hold. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But I believe in pursuing your passions and giving things a try. So here we are.
Well, I will say, I feel like there's been a rebirth of African-American bookstores. Just since in the 3 years, I believe it's been 3 years since we've done this show, we have met so many bookstore owners who have opened their bookstores within these last 3 years. I mean, some have been around for a long time, but there are some who opened in 2020, 2021. So I feel like there's kind of a rebirth. People are starting to come outside again.
Right.
And then sometimes people just want that community place, that meeting place, where they can go and maybe have a cup of coffee or discuss history, discuss literature. That meeting place that we used to have when it came to the African-American bookstore.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I mean, I believe there's nothing more important and authentic than meeting in person. God bless, social media and the technology that we have at our disposal today. However, yes. Person-to-person interactions, if I can be a small little hub to facilitate something like that, I'm all for it. I think that's just more genuine. I think it's richer. I think you derive more benefit from that when you can. The actual full name of our store is actually L'Ouverture of Books, Beans, and Gifts. So we went into it with the notion that, we're a bookstore, and we're African-American bookstore, but we're diverse. We hold a diverse anthology. We sell coffee. We sell actually dry coffee, though. Coffee beans, tea, honey, and African-inspired products like black oil and soap and things like that. So we do a number of different things as well on the gift side to kind of diversify our offerings. And should the pivot become necessary to move in that direction, as opposed to the books, or as well as the books, we'll continue to do that too.
Awesome. Now, Bernita Francine wants to know if you write, and you did say you are not an author, you're a bookstore owner, but have you ever considered writing?
Well, yes. I more or less blog. However, I've written some things in the past. I've written some poetry that I keep to myself, things like that I performed way back when in the early 2000s. But I'm a sort of a social commentary person. I blog a lot. I used to have my own blog called SapiaMuse.com. But mostly, I just commentate on social issues, things that are around us. I really love pursuing, ideas. Cultural things inspire me a great deal. So I can go on and on about jazz music and art and things like that. Those are my passions. And often I'll write about them. But no, I'm not an author yet.
Okay, I like you said author yet. So that means it's coming.
Yeah. If the bookstore doesn't work out, maybe I'll be publishing books for somebody else's store. We'll see.
Okay, I'm gonna let you slide with that one. So you did say that you are a blogger. You said you were a blogger. So are you not doing the blog thing anymore?
Yeah, again, it's the evolution of social media. All the eyeballs move from independently established websites that kind of were on the scene in the mid 90s into the late 90s, even the early 2000s. You could put up a actual website that you would publish and put up short video, or you write stories and things, and you actually have a lot of traffic moving your direction because it was novel at the time. But with the emergence of Facebook and then later on Twitter and now Instagram and so many other platforms that provided sort of like a vortex for all the energy out there, it's difficult to put a lot of energy into something like that and get a return in terms of people following it and trying to monetize it, when basically everyone is using established platforms to do so. So I say all that to say, I think my website might still be found out there somewhere, but I don't put much energy into it at all right now. It's just mostly in the store.
I understand. So I did put your website in the chat so people can visit the site. And you said you have an online presence. So does that mean that people can order from you as well as come into the store?
Absolutely. We're always looking for more and more website traffic. Again, we're at loveatyourbooks.com. You can find us there right away. We have a diverse number of titles there. And again, they're inspired by in-store traffic and then just things that we've sort of recommendations that we've gotten from people online as well. So yeah, you can definitely order from us at loveatyourbooks.com.
Okay, now you guys hear that. So, I'm not going to tell you not to go to Amazon, but we have bookstores in your own community that are selling books as well, and they're going to get the book to you just as fast as anybody else.
Absolutely.
So let's support our Black bookstores.
That's right. And listen, and that's part of the understanding. If you're really a bibliophile, if you really, have some patience about you, and you really believe in developing community, you can get something lickety split in a package that everybody else is getting, maybe delivered by a drone, but you're not really building community. You're not really kind of building businesses. You're just kind of marginalizing what businesses are still out there trying to compete. And again, to the extent that we can provide, comparable service and quick turnaround, why not just wait a day or two, maybe or less, and get your product at a competitive price and keep the rest of us, out here in the ecosphere.
I love it. So what are the hours of your bookstore? And also a question did come in. Oh, first of all, Bernita says she only buys from the US. She only buys from us.
Okay.
Us.
All right, great. That's good.
But so what are the hours of your store? And then What type of community are you in? Is it kind of like a strip mall, or are you in a regular mall? How does your
Okay,
store look?
so our store is open from 10 to 5 Tuesday through Saturday. We're closed on Sunday. I'm often here on Monday, but the store is technically closed for business then. And again, alternatively, you can find us on the website, email us or whatever, and then we'll get back to you right away. I'm in, again, like a working class community, again, just outside Atlantic City. It's very diverse. We're not in a strip mall. It's actually on one of the local streets, right off of the main street there. Again, 6 Old Turnpike, Pleasantville, New Jersey. You can't miss us. It's a short little street, very well lit, very quaint. And we're right there on the block, with all the other diverse businesses still trying to keep things going. So pretty easy to find if you're regional to us. But if you know anything about South Jersey, again, you probably know Atlantic City, and that's where we are, not far from there at all.
Okay, well, we only have a couple of minutes left, but I'm going to turn this over to you. What message would you like to give our audience about Louverture Bookstore?
Okay, so thank you, Rhonda. First of all, read to your children. I often tell people, people tell me frequently, well, I don't read much, A lot of adults will say, I don't read much. Okay, you don't read much. Okay, I guess I can see how we get into the habit. Competition with the cell phone, the computers, everything is made easy for us to just kind of, pick up a device and amuse ourselves. Even I have fallen prey to that from time to time, and I don't read as voraciously as I used to. However, your children need to see you modeling reading. They're still in school. You can learn a lot from video. You can go on YouTube and you can pick up a video. But ultimately, that's basic information at best and entertainment at worst. Okay. But a book, a tangible possession, something that you can gift to them, so immediately they're going to love it. Something that says something about where you want them to go. So they're going to be inspired by that direction that you give them. Something that they can have, unlike a download, which you don't technically have, it's just digitized, a tangible book product that they can begin to build a library from. It helps them in school. It gives them an opportunity to learn at their own pace. And nothing builds critical thinking skills like reading. And that's absolutely important for the development and growth of our community. So by all means, read to your children, give a book as a gift. Remember their good grades at school and don't let them forget it. Bring them home something nice, something they can cherish, and I recommend it.
Love it, love it, love it. I wish I could talk longer, but it is now 9 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock. Well, no, it's 9 o'clock where you are too. You're in New Jersey. But I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for being a part of Black Authors Matter TV. And thank you for what you are doing to inspire our students to continue to read. Let's stop making reading a punishment. Go to your room and read a book. Make it a reward that you get to read a book.
Well said. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You have a wonderful evening. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you ever want to come back on the show, just say so. We're here to support.
I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a great night.